All right, let's get to the Rate My Take segment. Pete, what do you got for us this week for us to rate?
It's time to eliminate the snow games.
Oh, I've already thumbs up. I don't even need to hear a justification.
It's time to eliminate the snow games. They become a survival test. And let me ask you this. We saw a great offensive performance Saturday night by two teams. Yep. And we saw Jaden Daniels put on a spectacular show. And where was that? In Detroit.
Yep.
What if it was outside?
Yeah. Right.
What if it was outside? We would have been cheated out of that. So then we come to Sunday and you have that just nasty weather. The field was disgusting. Wide receivers were taking chop steps, and it becomes a survival test. It's not football. Moreover, you ask your fans to sit in that crap and uncomfortable when they can be comfortable and watch a game. It makes no sense to me. It's time to roof them all. Roof them all.
Part of me agrees with this take because I understand that you want the best version of football displayed, particularly in the most meaningful times of the year,
Correct.
which happens to be in the winter months.
The worst weather times, yeah.
But as an offensive lineman, there brings me no more joy than the experience of blocking a better athlete in shitty conditions, because they're going to have to come down to my level. They got to slow down. The pass rushers.
Yeah, because it's the easiest way to.
It's the best feeling in the world, where you're like, it's like watching somebody break into your house and they forgot to put shoes on and they slide across your floor and they have no footing. And I'm like, oh, we have a fair fight now. You know, you want to come into my fucking house and try to bully me around? You got all those sacks in August, and you know.
Give me an example. Okay, I'm gonna ask you an example.
In Chicago,
was there a guy? Was there one guy that you had problem? Maybe he was tougher than you played him with bad conditions.
I played tackle in 2015. We had Von Miller, Khalil Mack, a number of guys come to Soldier Field. And I remember particularly the Khalil Mack matchup. And granted, I had some help. There was tight ends, there was running backs involved, snap counts, slides. But he slipped and fell about 6 times.
There was snow on the ground.
But you know what? I pitched the no-hitter in terms of sacks, and that's all that matters to me.
But there was snow on the ground.
No snow, but it was like it had rained the day before or something like that. It was probably 40, 35 degrees. They grow that grass out like a pasture at Soldier Field, so top-end speed is kind of capped for everybody. But particularly for these rushers, they're not as fleet-footed. I love that. When you go down to New Orleans, you go to Houston, you go to any of these places with domes, with turf, and the O-line is at an immediate disadvantage. So there's part of me that says, I understand you want the dry conditions, the warm conditions, the receivers to be able to go through their routes and stuff. But the other side of it is the defensive linemen are to get home so much quicker. You may not ever see those receivers catch the fucking ball because we're in trouble that bad on turf as offensive linemen.
But like the little baby snow is an advantage to the offense in a big way. Mm-hmm. Because the receivers know where they're going. They actually can, before it gets real.
Change the direction.
First mover advantage.
And like you said, the pass rushers can't get traction. It's hard to. When it gets to the point where it's just a slop fest, then it becomes just a survival test. Benefits. No, it's a running back does, because he pops through like Barkley did and he's gone. So I just think that you mentioned it takes away the game. It's not the game. It's the
way you put it, with us being robbed potentially of what Jaden Daniels and the Commanders put forth on Saturday in Detroit. That would have really sucked if we never got to see that. So I understand where you're coming from there. I'm going to go mid-thumb. I'm going to go thumb in the middle, because I see both sides of it.
Like back in the day, the Vikings used to play outside at the old Bloomington baseball stadium back in the day. Their games were just horrific from a freezing cold standpoint, and it was just a survival test. That isn't football. That's not football. People can say, oh, football's meant to be played that way. No, it's not. That's not the way the game is meant to be played.
I tend to agree. I do just think, especially in the play.
From a Green Bay guy, that's even better.
I mean, I saw them.
Oh, that field is awesome, by the way.
I saw them on numerous occasions. They had a team built to play in domes, and then they'd have home games in the playoffs, and they were not built to play in cold weather. They didn't have the same makeup that allows you to win, because it eliminates the value of certain positions. Cornerbacks cease to be as valuable, like other things.
Pass rushers.
It would be the great equalizer, though, if they found a way to
start being more valuable.
NFL needs to take the money and dome, like if you're going to do it, dome all the stadiums so there can be a competitive, neutral playing.
I'm okay with that.
Because teams like Miami, who, it's like 95 degrees here in December, they have to go up to Green Bay, or they got to go to the Jets. It just
if football is meant to be played that way, they would have Super Bowls in Green Bay. They would have Super Bowls in Buffalo. They don't. Why don't they?
Point.
And it's funny because
that's a great.
I was talking with Baselli in December about it when he gets all over me about it too, and he said he'd rather play outside against the guy than play inside against. He just didn't like playing inside
because we're linemen,
right?
We hate when they're fast.
Sluggos.
We're not sluggos. We're just like, hey, dude, you're not allowed to go that fast. If a rusher is out there in tennis shoes, in basketball shoes, I'm like, we are supremely fucked, big guy.
Right.
Like, I'm wearing the molded cleats out there with the straps around the ankles. My feet are 4 pounds apiece. And these guys are just boom, 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 boom.
By the way, did you see Phillips on the Bills the other day?
Yeah, and his jacket.
He had a jacket under his jersey.
Pre-game warm-up.
Come on, though.
That was awesome.
All right, Kyle, what's your take?
My take is that the Detroit Lions, without Aaron Glenn and Ben Johnson, this coming season will finish in the bottom half of the NFC North, which means obviously third or fourth. I'm not going to say last, but I'm going to say third or fourth. And I wanted to hear you guys' opinion on this because, you lose coordinators on both sides of the ball there. Great coordinators.
I don't buy it. As long as the talent's back, I'm giving you a thumbs down on it. Talent's back.
Can you blame me for being excited?
Yeah, no, you're excited. You should be excited. But to have Hutchinson back, if he's the same guy, which he should be, you get McNeil back.
It's tough to say.
Yeah, guys come back from injuries nowadays.
It takes sometimes a year and a half.
It'll almost be a year by the time they kick the ball off.
Yeah.
I do think there's a real chance that this offense that was the best in the NFL in terms of points per game takes a big step back. And you just go back to, I said this on Sunday's show, 2016 Falcons with Kyle Shanahan. That was a good offense. That year was the best offense in the NFL. It wasn't an unbelievably loaded offense that should have been the best offense in the NFL. They're the best offense in the NFL because Kyle Shanahan. And the next year, Steve Sarkisian, a great offensive mind, OC, they dropped by over 10 points per game the next year with the same talent there on the football field. So I think there's a real chance that without the mastermind pulling the strings, that you take a big step back. If you take a big step back, they're not the Lions anymore. They're not the team that dominated the way they did. Now, I think their defense will take a big step forward, at least who they were down the stretch, because Aiden Hutchinson and Lee McNeil are still like, dude.
Here's what my biggest concern isn't Ben Johnson leaving, because I think he's really good, but you can if you get the next guy down, which is the quality control coach, they really love him. We've seen guys go and the tree moves on and they do okay. My concern is going back to what we always talk about. That offensive line. Glasgow was bad this year. He's probably going to be out. The right guard is an unrestricted free agent, and he's also up in the years, even though he had a really good year. Decker isn't a kid anymore.
He's my age, yeah.
So all of a sudden, we look at one of the strongest groups together, and now there's major concern. Ragnow and Penei Sewell, you don't have to worry about. They're solid.
Which is good enough to
great players.
Win some fights.
You need some more guys in there, though.
I like Mahogany.
He might be okay.
So we'll see. But I think it's very possible just because the North's so good. I think they could drop to 10-7, and 10-7 could be. It was this year. Would have been this year. Bottom half the NFC North.
Let me ask you this: if the Packers, who have money, go out and add T. Higgins, would you change your perception of that team?
Of the Packers? Yeah, because they'd get a lot better in the receiver room.
Well, okay, because I think that's something I think they might target. They don't usually do that.
Real tears.
Yeah.
They don't do that for receivers, though.
No, but the last receiver they drafted in the first round was what? Javon Walker?
It was, yeah. It's been, and he was good.
They need to call up Jordy Nelson. Get him back in there.
But I think I don't
He used
think
to kill us.
I'll be honest with you. I don't think we've even come close to seeing the best of the Packers.
I disagree with
This is
the cold take too, because I fucking used to have to play against Aaron Rodgers in the cold and the snow and the wind, and he would just be out there flicking that bean around the stadium like it was, nobody's business.
Yeah, but I don't know.
You ever seen Jay Cutler throw a football, man?
Rips.
Dude, it was like listening to an F-18 go by.
Jared Goff's happy that they have a dome in Detroit. Is all I'll say.